Welcome back, Bobby. We are here to do a very sensitive topic that will probably get you into all kinds of trouble with family, friends, and loved ones. Okay.
Yes.
Creative life with family. Work life balance is a major topic today. But, okay, when you have a full time job and your spouse has a full time job and you also have this comic book project you want to work on in your quote unquote spare time, okay, what is it like? What effect does it have on your family? You've been through many projects. You know a lot of creative people in the business. How has that affected their personal lives?
Well, I think getting a balance to it is one thing that you try to do, but it's hard to do because when you're creative, like you said, is you got to take care of your day job, so then you can afford to do the creative work, and then you try to fit in a few hours of an evening or take a weekend, and that's away from spouses and children. It can be very hard to do. And then that's not counting the shows where you travel. I mean, at one point in time, we were doing 30 plus shows a year, and that's a lot of shows to travel to, gone 3 to 4 weekends. So, creative balance, promotional balance. Some things you get to spend with family, some of it you're away from family, and it can make it hard. It can make it very hard.
Now, you've been married a year or two by now. Okay.
Hmm.
How has that worked out with your wife? Has it always been perfect heel, or are there times you see the stress a little bit more?
Oh no, there's been some very stressful times. It depends. My businesses over the years just sort of keep people in this. I own Blue Line Pro, and it's going on 30 years. So I've always been somehow involved in with comics, and I've published magazines, from sketch magazines back in the day, arena magazines. I've had art studios. All of these take up time. When my oldest boy was young, I would spend many a night at the studio working, developing comics, working with other creators. So I missed a lot, and that's stuff I feel bad about now. But you do miss a lot. You try to get a balance, you justify it. It can create a rift, and it can put a stress on things.
And how do you look for those stresses in your family with your wife, spouse, with your family? How do you look for those things where you notice, wait a minute, this really is causing too much trouble? How do I get back that balance?
Sometimes you just have to walk away from the creative stuff. If it's taking up too much time, you need to relook at it. Maybe you bring in more people to help you. Back in the day when we had less digital and we did more stuff on hand, which of course took more time, it just took more scheduling, more working. I mean, at one point in time, I had to walk away from everything creatively. I was getting ready to do a big launch, comic books and stuff, and my wife got sick, and we had a young one, and I had a 10-year-old, and basically I apologized to all the creators and set it on a shelf and walked away for a couple of years. Those are things, choices you make. You do have to, at some point in time, you pick out what is most important to you. And as much as I love comics, and I love reading them, I love making them, at this point my family will always come first.
And
So if
your wife has always been very supportive of your passions. But yes, I remember that very dark and scary time.
mhm.
But I think the people who were your true friends understood and supported that. Okay, of
Oh,
where that you knew where your priorities were. Okay,
yes, and they're friends now. Every one of them are still good friends. We talk and everything. I don't think any of them held any, you know, ill will for what we had to do.
and
It was a bad time. I mean, literally, we had book stuff, we had stuff done, we had stuff ready to roll. We literally had scheduled up convention season, and we just walked away, and that was for the best. That's what we had to do at that point in time to get everybody back healthy.
and if someone does not understand that priority to your family in that time of crisis, maybe you don't want to be in business with that person anyway.
I would have to agree with you on that. Yes. Go
Known
ahead.
people in the industry who did not make the correct choice that you did not put family first. Okay.
I think so. You'll see certain creators not be successful in relationships. We don't hear a lot about relationships, so in this market, but if you know people, I'm luckily because I'm sort of in the back end. I do know a lot of creators, and we speak with them here and there, selling them stuff, or they're contacting us, and so we probably know a little bit more than what you're going to see out in public. And yeah, there's creators who will put 1,000% into their work because that's what they are, and that's the way they are. Yeah, that's who they are. I mean, that's fine. Their family, their children, they have to know that. They have to know that's what that person is. And I've seen spouses and people split. I've seen creators find co-creators. I mean, the best opportunity, which I do not have, my wife has nothing to do with artwork or writing. She's pretty much raise a family and support what I do, and she's great. But some creators go out and they find somebody else who creates also, so that makes it nice for traveling. That makes it nice for you're both into this, so you spend studio time together. Truthfully, this is sort of my just getting away. I can be creative. Even now, my wife and I are planning on a getaway trip here in a couple weeks. I'm going to be writing. I've got a 32-page comic to write. So she knows I'll get up before her for a couple hours because I get up real early. So I'll be getting up. I'll be writing. I'll have that part done by the time she's up running around. And then we'll spend our time together down by the lake. So you just got to plan. And I mean, it's nice when you find a creative partner, but
I'm glad that, our comic book news is not a gossip rag where you're hearing about people's personal lives and, oh, so-and-so broke up with so-and-so,
right.
But you and I knowing some of these behind the scenes things of where things didn't go well, there's some cautionary tales that, you can see someone,
I
did
think,
it really benefit their work? Okay. Or are they
right.
really happier? You look at something that like 10 years down the line, have they become rich and famous, successful, or did they kind of, fall apart? Okay. Sometimes people can survive on their own and their creativity is all that they need. But most of the people I know need that balance. They need that support, okay, of a family to really make it worthwhile.
I think that's the key thing is balance. Get a good balance to everything. Being creative is great and wonderful, but you just, to me, you have to take a break sometimes um, to re-energize or just to break that thought up, and then you come back with a fresh view, and you're going, oh, what if I take it in this direction and do this? And so, yeah, a family can offer that break, that away from what this creativeness is. But some people just thrive on this. This is what they want to do. This is their life. Some people beat themselves up because they're not doing this as much as they want to do it. There again, you just got to schedule your time and make peace with. Some people pick up way too many of these jobs as creating comics, and they're not producing anything. And there again, it's just scheduling. Um, but you've got to spend time with family and friends just to clear your head and try. I think it helps your creative juices. Um, I quit listening to radios in my car for a long time ago because I just sit there and I'll be thinking about projects and characters and stuff like that while I'm driving. And my wife, she listens to, radio and stuff in her car. And that's fine. But I'll usually, like, if we're going on a long trip and she's listening to a book or something, I'll put in headphones and I take that time. And she knows what I'm doing. She'll ask me, what are you planning over there? So, I'll say, well, this is what world I am on currently, and this is what characters I'm thinking about, and I can play stuff off, and she'll act like she's interested. So, that does well.
Well, sometimes one of the best things we do for our spouses is act like we're interested, but
Yes.
but sometimes you actually really do care, okay, and that we care more than we let on that we care, okay,
Well, I
and
think you appreciate their successes or their efforts. We're not always successful with everything, but if they put, your spouse is putting effort into it, um, then you should be supportive of that effort. Like she's supportive of my effort all the time. I'm supportive of anything she's into from, you know, whatever she's into right now.
but it's also good to have someone who's not as into things as you are, a more neutral party to bounce an idea off of.
Yes,
You know,
I agree. Now, don't get me wrong. my wife, she was raised with none of the superhero, sci-fi, fantasy stuff at all.
Mm-hmm.
And with our two boys, she's pretty much has had to become a nerd mom. And she's right in there with us. You know, she watches all the Avengers and watches all the movies and the TV shows, and she asks questions. And she got mad at me because I started some series without her, and we had to back up and watch it. So she's wanting to step forward and and watch stuff like that with us, and she'll ask the questions and everything. Never had trouble with the boys reading comics. She's always been real supportive of everything they wanted to do. So, and that helps. That helps. Now, neither of my boys really are in the comics. My oldest moved on to hunting and fishing and all that kind of stuff he wanted to do. My youngest moved on to video games, which is good for us now, considering we own a retro video game store.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty cool. But yeah, she's always. It's nice to find somebody supportive, whether they're into it or not. They support you, and that's what's important.
Now, sometime when you're really lucky, like Terry Moore, his wife Robin is the publisher of their company, and they work hand in hand. And it's a remarkable partnership that they both contribute to. Terry's
Right.
being the writer artist, but very few couples can really become full-time partners in a business like that. Number one, they don't all have the talent to manage, and many a spouse is like, no, I can't be with you 24/7. We can't have work life and family life be the exact same thing. I need some kind of break every once in a
Right.
while.
Well,
So
I
if you can
also
find that,
find that. But the thing is also is Terry Moore has had several very successful runs on creative owned material. And so financially they're able to do that too. And I think that's something you got to look at is financially that both of them are able to contribute in due time like that together. Um, it doesn't always work out that way financially.
well, no, sometimes you, even just for your own relationship, you need a clear demarcation line between your creative work, okay, and your home life. And
Yes.
sometimes it's wonderful to have that spouse who can help you, like, do the fulfillment. Yes, I'll help you um, put, put all the mailing together when you're sending out your book, okay, or
Hmm.
do the help you do these contacts and help you with, and but sometimes you just need that break where like no, there's a difference. This is your off time, and this is our relationship, and that balance has got to be different for every couple with every family. So there's no real formula we can tell people of you need X% of your time needs to be devoted to this. It just doesn't work that way.
Right. No, I agree with you.
But being able to listen to, I think one of the hardest things to deal with is when your spouse is like, anything you need, honey, I'll be supportive. And then you find out that eventually they really stop meaning that because you're taking too much and too much and too much.
Right.
When
No,
you
you've got
get
to
that
give
carte
back.
blanche, when you get
Hmm.
that carte blanche, I understand how important this is to you. Take all the time you need. And then you do take all that and all that and all that. And if you don't keep your eye on that person who's trying to reach out to you and be as supportive as they can and not understand when they've reached their limit of like, because they don't want to tell you that.
Right. And the thing is, you got to be as supportive of them. I mean, what are they into? Are they into crafts? Are they into creative stuff? Or do they just like downtime and watch a good movie? I mean, what is their creative time or their downtime? You've got to be supportive of that. And there again, even though it cuts into your creative time, you've got to be there for them. It's tit for tat, you know?
Well,
You've got to be there.
I very much remember doing that with my wife Wendy at certain times when we had two young kids and she wasn't reading the books that she liked. She wasn't spending time with her sewing projects because it's just too busy. And I'm like, honey, I don't care how busy you think you are, you need to be. I got this. Let me take the girls. Okay, this afternoon is yours. You take your time, spend on sewing. I'll take care of this. I can handle it for an afternoon. It's okay for you to enjoy yourself because she felt she
Right.
didn't have that permission, but to take care of herself. But everybody needs that.
Oh, yes, they do. It's very important to allow them. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I said you need to be there by doing that, by taking care of the kids or going to the grocery store or whatever you got to do that allow them to have their time. That can be just as important as if you spending time with them definitely.
Very well put, because you don't realize when you're burning the candle at both ends and you're about to hit the middle. Okay, you're the last one to see it.
Yes,
So
you
having
usually are.
someone else to keep an eye on you, because you have to be strong. You have to, like, how am I going to be a creative person if I just do it when it comes easy? You can't. You can't. You
No.
have to be able to dig down deep and say, I've got the energy, I can do this, and to make it happen. But then again, you have to be smart enough to know when to pull back to take care of yourself. And lucky, I think you and I are lucky enough to have spouses who are like, no, you don't know when that is,
Right.
Bobby. You don't know when
Right.
that is, Bill. I'm telling you, this is and it's now, and you need the break. And like, I'm going to be fine. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, like I said earlier, we're going away in a couple weekends. That's going to be right in the middle of my Kickstarter. So it's like, okay, sure, we'll go away, and I just found out where we're going doesn't have internet.
Oh,
So
she planned that, didn't she?
yeah, no, she didn't. Actually, that came in as a late thing. So yeah, I might have to visit McDonald's and get some mocha or whatever it is that I got to buy to get a little Wi-Fi there.
I don't know. I
Um,
think maybe she knew this all along. She knew the only way to get you to relax was make sure there was no internet
I
anywhere
don't
nearby. Okay.
I don't know if I'll be doing much relaxing there with this Kickstarter running, but we'll see. We'll see.
See,
But
I
no,
think
midway is a good time to do it on the Kickstarter actually, because we're sort of taking a deep breath. We're guessing.
you
That's the
take
way
a
to
deep
use
breath
it.
of jumping in, and then there's a rush at the
Hmm.
end. So,
Yeah.
yeah, this might be the perfect time to say,
Right.
gather your strength and gather your forces, for that final push.
So
But but that's where having someone like that at your back to help you out can be super important. Okay.
yes, I agree. Who do we know out there?
Oh, there's quite a bit,
You know what?
good number of success
Who's
stories.
yes, I have to agree. Brian Polito and his wife's been very successful over the years together, and she runs, I believe, more of the business end, where Brian does more of the creative end. Now,
Hmm.
there's another hot
Um,
couple, if you want to say, in the comic industry, and he's really pushed the margins by taking his books directly to the customers. So
Terry and Rachel Dotson have been an artistic team for ages, okay,
yes,
and have
yes.
worked brilliantly together, okay.
Hmm?
Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, okay.
Oh yes,
Um,
writer and
they
artist.
they are hysterical. If you ever get a chance to meet them at a convention, okay,
They are funny.
they
Yes,
are
they are.
funny and fun and are just, and have so much respect for each other's work, okay.
Yes.
And so, yes, it's fun to watch them play and tease and snipe at each other and tease with the fans, okay? But you ever really talk to them about the other person's work, okay? You don't have to scratch very deeply to find out how much they truly appreciate, the talent that their spouse has, okay?
Right. Right.
I remember talking to Jimmy, and the thing that struck me the most when he's talking about his wife's artwork, he's like, whatever she draws, it has this innate sense of joy to it.
It does actually.
Okay. It's a very apt description, I think.
Uh-huh.
But more importantly was the tone of his voice, the look in his eye of how much he truly was in awe of her talent. Okay.
Okay.
A- And that, and even after being together all these years and working so closely together, that he still appreciated her work. Okay.
Hmm.
And that respect that they have for each other, means a lot to how to be able to work together and to be able to appreciate each other, uh, working so closely together year after year.
Right. Oh yeah. They they're they're very much a power couple. It was what Harlequin. They did some
They
stuff on
wrote Harley
together.
Quinn for over 5 years
Hmm.
together, and
Right.
she did covers. Currently they're working on a project where she's actually drawing the interiors too, because
Ah,
they were
cool.
so busy writing together that she couldn't do the full interiors.
Right.
But yeah, it's and those things, those particular couples are amazing. But what we don't get to hear much about is the male or female writer, artist, whoever who goes home to a spouse who is doing another job, okay, or taking care of the family and
Right.
is not involved, but are just that backbone, that the things that make it all possible. Okay. I think
Right.
there's a lot of stories out that you just don't hear all the time
I
because
agree.
they don't make the news. You know, they're
Well,
not also in the news.
they're probably more common. With as many creators that are out there, it's probably more common of a situation where the other spouse, whether the wife or the husband or just the other couple, is sort of holding the fort down, as we
And
would used to call it.
and it takes a lot for any spouse to be working with a spouse who is a freelancer, who you never really know how long this current job lasts, when the next one is coming, you know. And so there's many talented people that are, you know, once one job ends, that, you know, even though they have been established professionals, they don't really know where the next one is coming or when it's coming. There's
Right.
no guarantees in this business. So that
No,
takes a lot, okay, to be able to keep on supporting someone in that situation.
no, I agree. It will push things to the limit.
We don't realize that the unsung hero of the spouses, who are the ones that enable our favorite writers and artists to keep on going and keep on making it, because they're there with the steady income or just the support that is needed. And it's not an easy thing to do.
It isn't. That's why, earlier we were talking about how supportive you got to be of your spouse, and that's why you've got to be there for them as much as they are there for you. I know my wife has really stepped in many, many times over the years and taken care of things. And I've either been gone on conventions or just shut up in the studio trying to get whatever the latest project that needed to be done, because I felt like it needed to be done, or cranking or started or
Okay.
something. So
Now, don't get me started on, like, we're talking about people in established relationships. I mean, I don't understand how you can be a young writer or artist in the dating scene saying, you know, and, you know,
I have no clue. Yeah.
and finding that person is like, oh, yeah, I'm a comic book writer. I'm a comic book artist. Okay. Yeah, it's going to
I
be
guess that's
fine.
why they got
Trust me,
those.
it's going to be fine. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's why they got those apps, dating apps and stuff now. You don't have to go out to the bars and stuff. You just use one of those apps, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how that all works. Hopefully, I never have to figure out how that all works. So,
Does anyone put comic book artists in those apps, or there must be some way to know?
uh, I'm sure there is.
There's something they're lying about. Okay. You know, that, you know, anyone who's willing to go out with you then and like, really, oh, well, that's got to be a stable career. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
no.
But, you know,
It can be
but
interesting though.
well, most comic book writers and artists are interesting. We'll give them that. Okay.
Yes.
So I think you're looking for someone who doesn't want is not looking to marry an accountant. They're looking to marry someone who's a lot more interesting than that.
Usually they're very creative. So yes, I have to agree there.
Well, Bob, what we need to do sometime soon is talk to the flip side of this, okay, and talk to some of these spouses who have, you know, worked, you know, quietly behind the scenes supporting the comic book writers and artists, and get some of a look at this from their point of view.
We could try that. I think it'd be interesting. Boy, we could be opening up a jar of something there.
Yeah, we may have to keep some of these
Yeah.
things anonymous. Maybe we can disguise some voices. Okay, so no one gives away too much sensitive information. Okay.
Right, right. But it could be fun. I think it'd be interesting to do something like that.
Because yeah, because we get some really unique perspective from someone who's not really been part of the business, but so much of their life is defined by the business. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm
Right.
afraid that's all the time we've got for today, but that was a lot of fun, and looking forward to talking to you again soon.
Sounds good. Take care, Bill.
Bye bye.